finally, after all that teasing, here it is, my video on online privacy. The one I've been teasing for like, what, 2 episodes of Unpopular Opinions now? But finally, here it is. So let's just go into it and let's make some people angry. So when talking about online privacy, you can pretty much split it up into 2 different elements. Those are the more targeted ads and like companies trading your data and kind of stuff, and others the more government surveillance type, So I'll be covering both in this video. So let's start off with companies, tracking your data, selling your data, and using your data to push target ads and stuff like that. And if you've seen the previous 2 episodes of Unpopular Opinions, which I highly recommend you do, you probably already know my answer. People are freaking out over nothing. So it's nothing new, but still something to go over. What's really confusing to me about it is that when you just logically think about it, what is the issue with companies knowing information about you? It's like, ooh, Google knows when you were born or what your interests are. So spooky, it's the end of the world, oh no. But like, in reality, what does it actually change? What does it achieve? Why is it technically a bad thing? Are people so against it because they just want to feel like they're more private than they are? Do they just want it all for that feeling? And if you're not using something like AdBlock to block ads, wouldn't you want those ads to be, more targeted towards your interests anyway, instead of just being completely random stuff? Just for the off chance it's actually something you'd be interested in buying or using or whatever the ad is promoting. Would it make more sense for it to be more tailored towards you? Another part about it is that people are really going hard against companies who, use telemetry and other methods to try and get data from people to, help improve their services. People will think it's all just a giant scheme and that they're not actually interested in improving their services. And I think that's a really dangerous attitude to almost have nowadays, because us as consumers have already conceded so much ground when it comes to how big companies treat us. So to have companies, offering to improve their services for free, then what's the problem with that? And and the best way they can know how to improve those services is of course by understanding how people use them. So what on earth is the big issue of telemetry in that case? Don't you want the services you use to be as good as possible? So I want you to ask yourself, what exactly will happen? What will change if the big companies know that you really love cats, or that you spend way too much money on games, or whatever else? What does that affect? What does that change? How is that really a bad thing? Now let's talk about government surveillance. I'm guessing you can guess what I think of it. I think it's also fine, and people are just making a big deal out of nothing. And just by hearing that, you're probably thinking, avrona, he is an authoritarian, he hates freedom, he hates everything. But surprise, this is all coming from someone who calls themselves a libertarian. It is not a freedom, it is not a threat to liberty. It's there to provide security at no expense to your personal rights. So it's not really a position of someone who really loves freedom to be automatically against any kind of surveillance and really pro-privacy, because again, it doesn't affect anything. There's like this spectrum of this. There's these people who are really against any kind of breaches to the privacy or whatever, because the surveillance and the behavior of all the big companies when it comes to user data to be abysmal and it should all be banned and whatever. And ironically, that's even less of a liberty-driven standpoint, because you're restricting the freedom of these companies to do these things. Then there's the more rational position I find myself in, when it's almost this necessary evil in today's world, and we see that it's not really that of a thing because it doesn't affect our freedoms, and the bad people get what they deserve. So everyone's happy. And then there's the real authoritarian people who are like, mass surveillance on everyone, let's turn this into 1984, that kind of thing. And of course, I'm not really pro that. I don't want to live in like this 1984 inspired society. So again, ask yourself, do you really mind the government knowing what you do in order to provide better security for the whole nation? And it seems like the most basic thing ever, because if you're innocent, then you have literally nothing to worry about. And what's even more confusing is that people who are really against it and pro their own privacy are being almost glorified nowadays. But imagine if someone refused airport staff to search any of the things. They would have crosshairs on them in seconds. And yet in this situation, these people are not really treated like suspicious for wanting to keep to themselves and not wanting the government to see what they're doing. Like, I'm not saying everyone who wants that is guilty of something. It's just this interesting observation of this almost like double standard that's going on right now. If you still don't understand where I'm coming from, let me put it this way. I would rather have the UK government know I play games, watch YouTube videos and make cringy videos for said platform all day than to get killed the next time I go to London. Maybe when I put it that way, it finally makes some more sense to you people, and I'm guessing that the fellow innocent people watching this video can relate to that. But anyway, as always, let me know what you think of all of this down in the comments below. In these videos, I'm always interested to see what other people think, so definitely let me know down in the comments below. Also down in the video description below, as always, you will find my Discord if you want to, talk with me and others about this more, or whatever else you want to talk about. It's just join my Discord, it's awesome. Down there you also find our site, avrona where you can buy awesome affordable gaming PCs, and also down there you'll find my Patreon if you want to, support the channel monetarily to allow me to make even better videos and videos on way more interesting topics. Speaking of which, I'd like to thank my patrons Barry Yule, and also a massive thank you to Ryan Douglas. Thank you ever so much for supporting the channel, it really does mean a lot. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, whatever, and I'll see you all in what I make next. Goodbye everyone, goodbye.